All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a really powerful idea that's quietly changing everything in medicine. It's called risk stratification. And the whole point is to stop just treating sickness and start predicting it way before it ever happens.
Seriously, think about that for a second. What if we could actually predict a health crisis before it happens? I mean, what if your doctor could, look into your future, not with some crystal ball, but with actual data, and say, hey, here are the challenges you might face years from now? It sounds like science fiction, right? But it's not. This is the real promise behind a much smarter, more proactive way of thinking about our health.
So, what is this thing, risk stratification? Well, at its core, it's actually pretty simple. The best way to think about it is like a traffic light for your health. Doctors use all sorts of data to sort people into different groups. You've got your green light group, they're low risk, generally good to go. Then there's the yellow light, that's for moderate risk, assigned to, be a bit more careful, monitor things closely. And then there's the red light. That's for the high risk group, and it's a clear signal to stop and come up with a really specific protective game plan. Okay, but this isn't just some abstract idea from a textbook, right? Let's look at how it actually works in a real-world situation. And I mean a really high-stakes one, where getting this stuff right is absolutely crucial.
So, take the Ramadan fasting challenge. For millions of people with diabetes, fasting during Ramadan is a deeply important part of their faith. But it can also be pretty dangerous without the right guidance. We're talking about serious risks, like severe hypoglycemia, which is when your blood sugar just plummets. So you have this really tough conflict, right? How do you stay true to your faith without putting your health on the line?
And this is exactly where risk stratification comes in and becomes a literal lifesaver. Experts got together. We're talking the International Diabetes Federation and the DAR Alliance, and they built a specialized tool just for this. Its whole job, to give clear scientific guidance to solve this very problem. And here's the brilliant part. The tool doesn't just give a simple yes or no answer about fasting. Instead, it looks at all kinds of factors, like what type of diabetes does a person have? Have they had complications before? And based on that, it sorts them into these risk categories you see here. So for someone who's high risk, the advice is clear. Fasting isn't recommended. But for someone at low risk, it's generally safe. This is what we mean by a personalized plan. It's the total opposite of one-size-fits-all medicine. All right, so that's a perfect example for a specific event. But now let's zoom out. Let's take this same powerful idea and apply it to something that, well, affects every single one of us, the process of aging. When we think about getting older, a big concern for a lot of people is frailty. And it's important to know frailty isn't just something that has to happen. It's a specific medical condition that makes you more vulnerable to things like falls or disability. So the big question, the million-dollar question really, is this. How can doctors spot the warning signs way in advance, so they can help people stay stronger for much, much longer? Well, it turns out there's a major clue. It's a syndrome called motoric cognitive risk, or MCR for short. Now, that sounds super technical, I know, but it's actually identified by two pretty simple things. First, someone says they're worried about their memory, and second, a doctor observes that they walk slower than expected. That's it. That combination, it's a huge red flag. And that is why spotting MCR is such a game changer. I mean, look at what it predicts. It's not just one thing. It's a powerful warning sign for future frailty, a higher risk of falls, and even for things like dementia down the road. Catching this early opens up this incredibly valuable window of opportunity for doctors and patients to actually do something about it. So you can see the progression here. This is the path that risk stratification is designed to interrupt. You start out as non-frail, resilient and independent, but then some people start to show early signs and move into this pre-frail stage. That's our yellow light zone, remember? By spotting MCR, doctors can jump in right there at that middle step, and the goal is to stop that person from ever getting to the final high-risk frail stage. And, the science here gets really specific, which is great. It's important to know the difference between these terms. MCR, motoric cognitive risk, is the early warning. It's that first red flag. Cognitive sarcopenia, on the other hand, is when the condition has already set in. You've got both muscle loss and cognitive problems happening together. The whole point of this predictive approach is to catch it at the MCR stage, at that first sign of trouble. Okay, so we've seen a couple of these incredible predictive tools in action now, but how are they even built? Where does this predictive power come from? Well, I can tell you, it's not guesswork. This is all powered by some seriously advanced data science. So what are we talking about here? What's in this modern risk assessment toolbox?
It's not just one thing, it's a whole suite of amazing tools. You've got machine learning models, which are basically AI that can sift through millions of patient records to find patterns. You have super specific things like the glycemia risk index or the SCORE2 algorithm for heart disease. Then there are all these powerful statistical models, things like Cox proportional hazards or XGBoost algorithms. I know, they have crazy names, but what they do is find these really subtle connections in the data that a human eye could easily miss. You put them all together and they can predict future health with just, well, stunning accuracy.
Okay, we've gone on a bit of a journey here, right? From the Ramadan fast to aging and frailty, all the way to machine learning. But let's bring it all home. What does this all mean for you, for your health, and what you can expect from your doctor in the future? This quote really says it all. The goal is no longer just to treat sickness, but to predict it, prevent it, and personalize care for every single patient. This is the huge shift that's happening right now. For so long, medicine has been reactive. You get sick, you go to the doctor. Now it's becoming proactive. The new goal is to use all this data to see trouble coming, step in early to stop it, and make sure that the care you get is designed just for you. So let's wrap this up. What's the big takeaway? Why does this all matter? Well, first, it means safer care. It helps doctors steer clear of risky situations, just like with the fasting example. Second, it allows for early intervention. We're talking about spotting the risk for things like frailty or dementia years, literally years in advance. And maybe the biggest one of all, it means tailored plans. We're finally moving away from that one-size-fits-all medicine. Your health plan can now be built specifically for your risk profile. And that leaves us with one final pretty big question to think about. Is your health data the key to a longer, healthier life? As all these tools get smarter and more widespread, the information about our own health becomes this incredibly valuable asset. And who knows, the secrets hidden inside that data might just be the key to a future where we all live longer and much, much healthier lives.